what's going on? So in this little mini series here, I'm going to be teaching you how you can create your own little clicker game website using full stack development tools with the Flask framework for Python and vanilla JavaScript. You can even have a cool leaderboard and everything. I'm going to show you guys how to make this. It's going to be, I think it's a really fun project for learning the basics of front end to back end. This is a project I learned with. And yeah, I'm excited to teach it to you guys. I hope you enjoy. Alright, so first things first, we need to create a virtual Python environment. And what that is just an isolated space on your computer where you can install packages and dependencies for one specific project instead of polluting your main computer. So to do that, we just first need to create our project directory. So let me just list out what we have here. cd henry_tutorial series. Make our project directory. And then we navigate into that folder and we're going to type in the command python3-m venv virtual environment. Press enter. And now if we list out our directory, we're going to see the folder venv, and that is our virtual environment. But in order to actually access it and to install packages for it, we need to type in this command. So on Mac, it is source venv/bin/activate. It is different on Windows, and I will have that in the description, the correct commands and a video on how to do it. So enter, and now you're going to see this prefix here, and that means we're in the virtual environment, so we can get started with installing our packages. The first package we're going to need is Flask, so pip install Flask, and there you go. That's the only package we're going to need, and now we can move on to creating our project. Alright, so now that you have your project directory open in VS Code, we're just going to create the server. So we're going to click new file, not inside of that. We're going to create the new file inside of the parent directory, so in our case the henry_website. So new file, henry_server.py. And then from the Flask package we just installed, we're going to need to import a few modules. So those are going to be, so from Flask, import Flask, JSONify, render template, request, and make response. And then in order to initialize the app, we're going to do app equals Flask __name __. And now we need something to show to the user. We need some sort of, we need a way to see that this is working, obviously. So we're going to create a route, and this is going to be the base directory route. So when the user first goes onto the web page, this is what they're going to see. And to do that, we just do app.route, and then just a single slash in parentheses. And then we're just going to call the function index. And for now, we're just going to return hello. And then to actually run the app, we need to do at the bottom app.run. Host we're going to set to 000. And then the port we're just going to do 8080. And then we need to run it. So we're going to open a terminal instance up here. So new terminal. And when you get here, in order to run this, you need to still be in the virtual environment, so just make sure that the terminal is prefixed with venv. And then we just do python3 henry_server. And you're going to see here, it's all running. Very nice. And it's going to give you the one that's running on here. You're going to use this one right here, the 127.0.0.1. Just going to follow that link. It's going to open up. We're going to see hello. Look at that. Pretty exciting, I know. But you probably want to do a little bit more. So next I'm going to show you how you can actually send an HTML page from here. First we need to create two new folders. That's going to be a folder called templates and a folder called static. And that goes, the static folder just goes in the main directory. Both of these do. So what templates is, this is where the Flask app is going to look for all of the HTML templates. So that's where you have to create them, or else it'll just not know where to get them, which is a little bit bad. So we're just going to start off with index.html. If it lets me create a file, what's going on here? There we go. So I'm going to start with index.html, and then VS Code just lets you do little code snippets. So all you have to do is an exclamation point, enter, boom. I'm going to title this Pet Henry, and then we're going to link our style sheet, which we haven't created yet, but I'm going to show you how to link it. So link CSS, and then so we need to create our style.css file, and that is what the static folder is for. This is where all static assets of your website will go. So any images, JavaScript, CSS, that goes in this folder. So let's just create the file. Alright, I'm just gonna. So we need to create style.css, and that goes inside of our static folder. And we'll come back to that in a second. I'm also going to quickly drag in an image we can use for the website. So I'm going to put him here. There we go. There's Henry. Everyone say hi, Henry. Alright, now we can go over to the body. So we're going to need, first we're going to need a header. So header.total-count. So we're going to give it a class of total count and a tag of total count. And we're just going to make this, for now, Henry has been pet 0 times. Alright, and then we're going to put in our image. So source is, oh, so one thing I did forget. So we have to actually navigate to the static folder in the code here. So we're just going to do ... to go back one directory. So that puts us into Henry website. And then we see static, and then we see style.css. Same thing for the image. That should also go inside of your static folder. So back one directory, static, henry.png. And then last, we just need a button. So button. We're going to give that a class of pet button and a tag of pet button. I'm going to set the onClick event here to a JavaScript function, pet Henry. We haven't created this yet, but we will shortly. And we just, then we just type in here, pet Henry, put that inside the button. And now if we stop the server real quick, and then run it again, and we go to our web page, we reload it, nothing happens because I didn't actually put this into the server yet. So we need to go back into our server file, and we need, instead of returning just hello, we're going to type return render template to show that we're returning a render template, which is inside of your templates folder always. And then the name of the template file, so in our case index.html. We save that real quick, and then we reload. Once again, nothing happens because you have to restart your server. And now, if we reload, we see Henry. He's been pet 0 times. We see Henry, and we can pet Henry. Well, we can press a button, but it doesn't do anything yet. We're going to set that up in a moment. First, we're just going to add some basic styling just to make it look a little better. So I like to do this box sizing border box thing. Not really sure what it does, but I like to do it. And the body, we're going to display flex. I'm going to set the flex direction to column. This will stack everything on top of each other. Then we're going to align items to the center, and we're going to justify them to the center. Align the content, justify the content to the center, sorry. And then we're just going to set the background color to something a little less white because my eyes cannot handle it for some reason. I'm going to save it real quick. And then once again, you do have to restart the server in order to actually see these changes. And look at that. So if we want it centered in the middle of the page, we have to go here, we have to do height, 100 VH, and that's just 100 view height, so the whole thingamabob. And we gotta restart again. Boom, Henry's in the middle of the page. I'm just gonna also show you how to style the button real quick. We're gonna increase the font size. I'm just gonna set that to large for now. padding, I'm going to add 5 to the top and bottom, 15 to left and right. I'm going to take away its border because I don't really like how it looks. I'm going to round it off a little with border radius, if that's just 5 pixels. I'm going to give it a margin of 5 pixels. We go here, we restart the server, ba-bang. Got a nice new button. And if you want to have hover effects and a click effect so you can actually tell if you're pressing or not, we can use the, I believe it's called a pseudo class. Not really an CSS expert, to be honest, but so we're going to give it some box shadow when we hover it. We're going to do an inset one, no offset, and then 5 pixel blur. Just going to color it black. And we're going to do a pet button active. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to make it 10 pixels instead. Here we go. And if we just restart our server to see our changes, look at that. You can now tell if you're pressing the button or not. Very good, I know. So we're on a pretty exciting point. We have a picture of Henry in the middle of the screen. We have text telling us how many times he's been pet. We have a button to pet Henry, but we still can't pet Henry. And that's a little bit upsetting, so we're going to fix that. Alright, now we're going to head back over to the server file, and we're going to need to create 2 new functions. We're going to need one for petting Henry, so define pet_Henry. We're going to pass for now, I'll set that up later, and then get total pets. I'll just call that get total count for ease. Pass for now. And then just like we did up here, we're going to have to add a route. So app route. And for this we're going to do /pet Henry. And then for getting the count, we're just going to do get total count. Get total count. Now we have to actually set up the functionality. So first we need to actually store the number in a variable so we can increment it. So number equals 0. And then inside of pet Henry, first we're going to have to declare that we are using the global number variable, so global number. And then we just increment it by 1, so number plus equal 1. And then we return JSONify number equals number. And this returns a JSON object where number stores a number variable. Very cool, I know. So what this function does, we increment the number, and then we return it to the client. Very simple. And we do pretty much the same thing down here, except without any incrementing. So we just do return JSONify number equal number. You don't need to do global number here because we're not changing it at all, so no need. And if we hop back over to the client side, we're going to need to create a JavaScript file inside of our static folder. Just going to call that script.js. And then we're going to need to grab the total display, so this little header right here. So const total count display equals document.getElementById, and then we define the ID here as total count. So we just put in here total-count, and that stores this as a variable so we can edit it later. And we're going to set up that pet Henry function that we defined here in our button. Before we do that, we have to add the script. So make sure you add the script above or before the button, or else it won't recognize pet Henry as a function. So we're doing script :src for source, and then we just do back1 static, and then script.js. We're going to hop back into our JavaScript. We're going to define that function pet Henry, and we're going to start that off with a fetch request. So we're going to fetch from that endpoint we just set up, which is pet Henry. So we're going to type fetch the /pet Henry, and then this creates a promise which we can then catch with .then. So we're going to do .then, and then we're going to get the response object. We're going to turn that into a JSON. And then we take the data from that. Oops. Take the data from that and we put it into a function. We're just going to do total count display dot inner text is equal to data is equal to, okay, so you're going to need to do backticks for a formatted string. That's the key above your tab key. You're going to type in Henry has been pet $, and then the brackets, curly brackets, data.number times. And if you remember, we set up this data.number here on the server by saying number equal number. So what this function does, we first, send a request to pet Henry function, so that increments the number, and then sends us the number, and then with that number, which is represented in the response object, we convert it to a JSON, and then using the data we got, we access the number variable. Amazing. So if I go ahead and start the server now, I reload the page, and we go here, and we click pet Henry, it pets Henry, look at that. And if I bring over another tab here, you can see if I pet Henry now, it'll say 7 because it's synced. But that's not updated in real time, so that's a little stupid, right? I mean, how can you show off to your friends this? This doesn't really look that impressive. So we're going to make it impressive. We're going to need to sync the number. So we're going to make a new function that's going to be function sync number. And very similar, we're just not going to do any incrementing, so we're going to do fetch get total number, which we set up here, get total count, get total count. We're going to catch the promise, convert the response into a JSON, then we're going to convert that. Well, we're going to grab from that. I'm going to put it inside of the total count display inner text, so we can just copy that down here. And then we need to call sync number. And then you see when you reload the page, it'll sync the number. Where did the other Henry go? There you are. So I reload the page, it syncs. But we want this to update in real time. So what we're going to do, we're going to do semi-real time. It's going to be like a very short delay. We'll be okay. We're going to do set interval, sync number. You're not going to include the parentheses here. You're just going to say the function's name. And then the second argument here is the delay in milliseconds. So we're just going to do, 250. Save that. And then if we reload both of these pages here, you'll see in the server console, we actually have the request coming in. And then if I go ahead and I reload both of these and I pet Henry on one of them, we see it's incrementing on the other. Look at that. And now you and all your friends can pet Henry. You can show off how cool you are for knowing how to do this. There's just one more thing you probably want. Because if you decide to restart your server for any reason, you make some crazy cool update, you're going to restart your server. You go here, whoa, why is it saying 0? Because we never saved the number to the server. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so actually saving the number is a pretty simple thing to do. We're just going to go back into our server. We're going to create 2 new functions. We're going to make a read number function. And there's no need for an app root because this is going to be purely on the server. So we're just going to pass for now, and then the second function we need is going to be save number. Pass. So to start with reading the number, we're going to wrap it in a try except thing. Block. Do with open number.txt. Read. So R for read. I'm going to do that as file, and we're just going to return the contents of that file casted to an int. And then accept file not found error. We're just going to return 0 because if we don't have the file there, it's just because we haven't pet Henry yet. so returning 0 will be fine. And we're just going to do down here, we're going to set number to read underscore number. And we're actually going to create the number file real quick. So number 0, that's going to have to be number.text. Alright. And then for save number, very simple, we're just going to do with open number.txt. This time we're going to do write instead of read. As file, we're just going to do file.write, and we're going to make sure to cast the number to a string. Number. So yeah, now come down here, we're going to add in the save number. Hold on, we have to add the argument number here. So we're just going to save the number after we increment it, so save underscore number. And that's it. If we now restart the server, we come here, pet them a bunch of times, and we'll see on the server this number is actually updated in real time as well. So I pet him, goes up to 27, 28, blah, 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 blah. And if I restart the server, see, it saves. If we go find the other Henry, this also saves. So yeah, I'm able to fully pet Henry. And if you would like to get some credit for petting Henry, you would like to be on a leaderboard maybe, you can go over to pethenry.com, where you can pet the real Henry. We don't even have a button here, you can just click him and it pets him. Isn't that crazy? I've pet him 120 times. Been pet a total of 326,000 times. That's crazy. We even have color schemes over here. So this is what we're going to be working towards in the advanced section of the tutorial coming out sometime after this. If you guys are interested. But yeah, that's all I have for you for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.